everyone says, everyone says, don't copy people, be original, don't follow mentors. I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. I think the fastest way to move forward personally and really as a society, right, is to copy the behavior as long as there's data for it. But here's the part that nobody really talks about, at least that I've seen no one really talk about. Eventually, you run out of data, and that's where things get interesting. So if there is already optimal, if there's already data on optimal behavior, why the fuck would you ignore it? Right? If 80% of results come from 20% of behaviors, why wouldn't you study that 20% obsessively? Right? Mentors aren't weakness, frameworks aren't limitation, they're compression. They collapse decades into years. Society progresses because we don't reinvent the wheel every generation. We study, we model, we execute. That's phase one, right? But here's the problem. If you go far enough in any domain, you eventually reach a place where there is no data. There's no playbook, there's no mentor, no one's done it. You are now at the frontier. You now get to contribute to the data. So you are now the reason of compression for everyone else. Right? So we're kind of standing on the shoulders of giants, and then through time we become the giants that people stand on the shoulders of, right? So at this point, when there's no data, copying will no longer work because there's nothing to copy. So now you must experiment. You must become the data. That's phase two. So what's the framework, right? Step one, it seems to be extract the highest leverage behaviors from existing data, execute them fully, ride that until diminishing returns, and then when there is no more precedent, you shift from student to scientist. And I feel like a lot of people will try to skip phase one when phase one already exists. Like they want to be original immediately. And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't get that. And I think that's why, because I had this conversation with Philly Phil. What up? Ayo, pause. I had this conversation with Philly Phil and other people as well, that I live through mentors. And I think that is true if you look at my life from where it currently is. But I think that's an incorrect way to look at it, because I'm only, I'm young. Like Phil would call me an unk. I'm unk status. But to me, like in terms of like the do it yourself for life, I'm not there yet because so many other people have done it for me already. So it's like once I reach that point to where I have learned everything I can from mentors and I now reached a place, then I will no longer use mentors. I'll become the scientist. I just haven't reached that point yet, right? Um, so, because like being original without foundation, it doesn't make sense to me. But then copying without eventually experimenting on your own is stagnation, right? So if you try to do it on your own when people have already done it, it doesn't make sense to me if looking at it from an efficiency perspective. But then if all you do is just copy people who have already done shit and then you never go beyond that, like you reach that limit and then you just keep waiting for other people, that's like stagnation. To me, progress requires both. Like, why not learn from the people who have already gone before you? And then once you've reached an endpoint of their learning, then you start learning by becoming the experiment, by becoming the data. So the real question isn't should I get a mentor or should I not get a mentor? The real question is, am I still in a domain where data exists? If yes, study it. There's no point, in my opinion, if we want to really collapse and condense, timelines. There's no point in doing it on your own if it already exists. Like, let me just, you know, am I still in a domain where data exists? Yes. Study it, learn, buy a mentor, buy the course. Am I still in a domain where data exists? No. Congratulations. You are now responsible for pushing humanity forward, right? So study the data, but then become the data.